All right, number 7 from the Chapter 7 homework. This problem reads that ABC's common stock dividend yield is 2.1%. The company just paid a dividend of $1. It is expected to pay a dividend of $1.07 1 year from now, and the dividends are expected to grow at this same rate indefinitely. What is the required rate of return on ABC's stock? Okay, there are a couple ways you could get at this one, but the simplest way is to use this breakdown of the required rate of return formula that's in the textbook. And here I've copied it down to try and so it would match up with a book here. I use the big R for the required rate of return just so you could find it in the text easily, and it's on page 210. But normally this required rate of return, we're used to it being a little r. Okay? And there's no difference between the two here. It's just the way the author tries to confuse you. Okay, but what it does on page 210, and I encourage you to go back and read it so it makes a little bit of sense, but it breaks down the required rate of return on the stock into two components: the dividend yield and then the capital gains yield. Okay, where the dividend yield is nothing more than the dividend expected next period divided by the current price. Okay, that's the D1 divided by P0. Okay, the capital gains yield, in this special case where it's a constant growth stock, where it's going to grow by the same amount every year, which this one is, the capital gains yield is nothing more than the growth rate in the stock. And so this greatly simplifies this problem for us. We want to know what the required rate of return is. Well, it gave us the dividend yield directly. It tells us the dividend yield is 2.1%. But then it also indirectly gave us the capital gains yield. We know the last dividend was $1, and the next one is $1.07, and we expect it to grow at that rate continually. So all we have to do is find the growth rate between $1 and $1.07, and that's our G. So we can just plug those numbers in and add them together, and that's our required rate of return for the stock. So that's what we do here. First, we're given the dividend yield directly. But for G, we've got to calculate a growth rate for this guy. Okay, and I've used the simplified version of calculating a rate of change or a growth rate or a rate of return, however you want to say it. Here, you can use whichever formula you're more comfortable with, but the shorthand version here is you just take the most recent or the expected dividend of $1.07 divided by the older one of $1 and minus 1. Now, algebraically, this is exactly the same as taking this is just the new divided by old minus 1. It's a rate of change formula or a growth rate. Algebraically, it's exactly the same as saying the new minus old divided by old. That'd be the $1.07 minus $1 divided by $1. Will give you the exact same number of 0.07 or 7%. Okay, so that's our G here, and it's easy enough to calculate. Now, to find our required rate of return, we can just add these two guys together. So the 0.021 plus 0.07 is 0.091 or 9.1%, and that's our required rate of return on the stock.